Yep. And we're at 19. And I neglected to start the recording before, so. Okay. Simeon.
The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon, clan by clan. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Beersheba, or Sheba, Moladah, Hazar Shual, Bela, Ezem, Eltalad, Bethel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markobath, Hazar Susa, Beth Lebaoth, and Sharuhin, 13 towns and their villages. Ain, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashan, 4 towns and their villages, and all the villages around these towns as far as Baalath Beer, Ramah in the Negev. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Simonites, clan by clan. The inheritance of the Simonites was taken from the share of Judah, because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Simonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah.
Okay, and that's what shows on this map. Right there in the center is the area that the Simonites received. And it's surrounded by Judah. Simeon. Not Simeon. It's Simeon, not Simon. Okay. Let's see what Zebulun's going to get.
The third lot came up for Zebulun, clan by clan. The boundary of their inheritance went as far as Sarid. Going west, it ran to Maralah, touched Dabasheth, and extended to the ravine near Jokneam. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor, and went on to Deberath and up to Japhia. Then it continued eastward to Gath, Hefer, and Eth Kazin. It came out at Rimmon and turned toward Neah. There the boundary went around on the north to Hanathon and ended at the valley of Iphthah-el. Included were Ketah, Nahalal, Shimron, Idalah, and Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun, clan by clan.
And when you look at the map, Zebulun is not a very big territory. I mean, it's surrounded on all sides by larger tribes. And then right next to Zebulun is Issachar. Is that the way it's pronounced?
Issachar, I don't know.
That sounds good. So let's find out how that fourth lot was distributed.
The fourth lot came out for Issachar, clan by clan. Their territory included Jezreel, Keseloth, Shunem, Hapharaim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabith, Kishion, Ebez, Rameth, and Ganin, and Haddah, and Beth Pazzez. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahazumah, and Beth Shemesh, and it ended at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar, clan by clan.
Okay, you can see that that's bounded on the west by the Jordan.
On the east.
On the east, I'm sorry, dyslexic. The other east, or the other west.
So I suppose some of these smaller ones are actually better ground, better land, as far as having agriculture or whatever.
Yeah, it could have been, and they probably had more cities in them. And because if you had more cities, you could say there would be more wealth.
Well, they seem to gather on 12.
Yeah. Let's see, how about Asher?
The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher, clan by clan. Their territory included Helkath, Hali, Betan, Ashpa, Elimelech, Amad, and Mishal. On the west, the boundary touched Carmel and Shehor-Libnath. It then turned east toward Beth Dagon, touched Zebulun and the valley of Iphtah El, and went north to Beth Emek and Neo, passing Kabul on the left. It went to Abdon, Rehob, Hammon, and Canaan as far as the Greater Sidon. The boundary then turned back toward Ramah and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hosah, and came out at the sea in the region of Akzib, Umah, Aphek, and Rehob. There were 22 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Asher, clan by clan.
Okay, now, remember, they're giving the house of Asher, they've got tribal members, and they're the ones who are receiving that inheritance, that land. And, you know, they're part of the reason why these are smaller areas. It may be their tribes were not that big. I mean, the list of names is much smaller than it is for when you look at Manasseh or Judah.
So these villages and towns were there before the
Yes.
Israelites were there.
Yes. And, you know, that land was given to them, but they had to conquer it, still had to conquer it. Remember, in the last chapter was talking about there were some towns in one of those territories that refused to follow the God of Israel. And so they said, well, you guys do whatever you want. You know, we're not going to make it. You know, we're done fighting. So, Naphtali.
So,
Yeah.
excuse me, but would they have been able to communicate with one another that by language? I mean, their language would have been the same?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think if you get farther north into Babylon and some of those areas, they may speak a different dialect or, but, you know, in this area, they're all pretty much speaking the same language. Because these towns all, before the 12 tribes showed up, these towns all traded with one another.
Okay.
And they dealt with one another. So there was obviously some commerce going on with them. And if you're having commerce, then you have to speak the language.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm just reading the small
Yeah.
type here. Shechem and Shiloh, city-state empire, being Hebrew friendly and joined Joshua is confirmed in some of the letters. Philistine Panopolis of city-states down where Judah is there is a coastal plain, and it lists some of the cities in there that are also apparently mentioned in Exodus, Deuteronomy, Joshua, and Judges. Now remember, where were these people before they went to Egypt? You know, where were Joseph's brothers? They were in this area. I mean, Abraham was in this area.
Wasn't so far.
Yeah. So, and you know, when the two brothers went into the one brother's mother said, put on this wool coat and, you know, rough up your hands and go see your father. And so he received the blessing. And so what did his brother do? He took off for Edom. Then he go to Edom and he married an Egyptian. And, you know, that really didn't make things happy for the family. or is it Moabites? I'm not sure which one it was now, but they all they all could communicate fairly well. The reason they Moses did so well with the Egyptians, and running their slaves, was, remember, when he was born, they were going to kill all the firstborn. His mother put him in a basket into the water, and who found him? The Pharaoh's daughter, and she raised him as her own. So I'm guessing he was bilingual. I mean, he could speak Egyptian. Their language is different. And I think if you look at the way some of the languages are written, they're not using, in Egypt, they're not using an Arabic alphabet. They're using those cuneiforms.
Oh.
And when they find a lot of the text, and we'll talk about this more when we look at the pseudepigrapha, a lot of these are being discovered yet today, and they're not written in English. They have to be translated. And sometimes it takes years to translate some of these. And some of those things were found in, what's now Iraq and Iran. So, these are people who had traveled, but we just can't pick up and read them. Somebody's got to translate them. So I think for this area here, they probably all, could communicate. Remember, when you're on the Mediterranean, you're doing a lot of trading. And, that was always the strong suit that Rome had as they expanded their territory. They worked with people who spoke different languages. And they were more concerned with building roads and maintaining peace and collecting the tribute. And remember, Rome didn't care. If Jesus was they tried to trick the Romans into saying, well, you're no friend of Caesar's if you don't see this guy says he's God. Well, the Romans, the Roman rulers thought they were gods. And where did they get that from? The Egyptians. Remember, who was the Roman that fell in love with an Egyptian woman? Richard Burton.
I was going to say Cleopatra, but I wasn't sure.
Well, that would be Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
So, there was some transaction. And remember, when we looked at Paul's journeys, and Paul was from that little town, the name escapes me, but that town was also known because Cleopatra and her barge went up to that town where she met Caesar. And so Paul, there was a connection between his hometown and Caesar and Cleopatra. We don't find that in scriptures, but we know historically, that they met. So
Historically, this morning, I'm sorry to take so much time. I have a calendar that says what I learned today. And today it says that Cleopatra spoke, and it names, I wish I would, names all the languages, but there will be about 6, including Arabic. And I'll have to bring that next time.
yeah,
She was many lingual.
yeah, she wasn't just a pretty face.
I guess.
She was pretty intelligent.
Apparently so.
And remember that all these people don't speak Arabic. And so, the Arabic language, they weren't doing any trading with Israel. They were trading on those trains that were going to China. what do they call that? The silk,
Road.
Uh-huh.
the
Is that
silk,
the Silk Road?
yeah, the silk trail. Where, and when the Arabs came to Spain and ruled Spain for a while, and they were very clear when we were in Spain. I said something about, did the Muslims come in? She said, they weren't the Muslims, they were the Arabs. Now, some of them did, their own personal faith was Islam.
Hmm.
But they talk about, the Arabs coming in. The Alhambra, which is in one of the Spanish cities, was a tribute to the Muslim faith. But there were also Christian cathedrals in that town. And in fact, I think that may be, I could be wrong, that's where Isabella and Ferdinand were buried. And they're king and queen of Spain, who had a little issue with Henry VIII because Henry VIII wanted to divorce their daughter, and they weren't happy about that. So they encouraged the Pope not to grant Henry VIII the divorce. So much history is tied up with religion. I mean, it's amazing, and that was one of the things I loved about traveling to Europe, is you find out, stuff that I had assumed were just, one of the cities, they have a big statue of Columbus, and the guide said, and every October 10th, we celebrate Columbus Day. And I said, so do we. And she said, do you understand Columbus never got to America? And I said, I understand that is a federal holiday, and we don't really give a damn where he went. You are not taking that holiday from us.
Or what you call it.
Yeah, well, so, they were stunned that we're celebrating Columbus Day. And she was just so naive and said, but you do know that Columbus didn't. I said, oh yeah, we know that, but we also know it's a federal holiday. And the union's not going to let us give that up. We may call it something else, but the 10th of October, vacation. So, so many of these things are just intertwined, and we don't always know the connection. In fact, in one of the cities, I think it was Toledo, Spain, there were synagogues. So, there were Jews in Spain, and there were Arabs in Spain, and there were Christians in Spain. And they all kind of got along until they get a ruler who a little.
Now Babylon is what now is Iran
Yes,
and the Persians.
yes,
And of course they had a lot of cultural, because they took the intelligent Jews, the upper class over. But then the current political situation there rose in the 1970s when the Shah was dethroned.
yeah. And it's interesting that his son is hoping that he can go back,
Yeah, yeah.
which I just find interesting. I mean, I'm not sure that's going to work, but everything is different, and I think certainly the internet has changed a lot of this. These were people who did not have the internet.
They didn't?
No cell phone.
Well, they did have Facebook.
That was their salvation.
But here you have these people who, it's kind of like, reading somewhere somebody said, you didn't post pictures of what you were eating in colonial time. You just told people Well, we had brisket in a nail. But now there's some people posting their meals.
Okay.
So anyway, let's move back. Are we at Nafferty?
I think so.
32.
Okay. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali, clan by clan. Their boundary went from Heleph to the large tree in Zaananim, passing Adami Nekeb and Jabneel to Lacham, and ending at the Jordan.
Okay, hold on for just a minute. I want to make sure we all caught that. Their border ran from Heleph, from the oak.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're identifying it by a tree.
That's that.
You know, I mean, it's
Is it an
amazing.
oak grove or just one single oak?
Yeah, I mean, which oak tree? I think it's this one. No, I think it's. So, you know, we're down in the mud with this kind of stuff. I mean, you know, there are no civil engineers plotting boundaries. You know,
But there were also census takers apparently to talk about how many villages.
yes, yes. I mean, it's kind of like when we were kids and we were playing baseball. We'd say, well, that's first base, that's second base, and that's third base. There was no base. You know, we just put a tin can here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Drew a line on dirt.
yeah. I mean, and so here we have these areas for which we have a map, and we if you ask, I think Bob, you asked last week, how do we know if these territories are still here? We don't. If the oak is gone, we've lost a pin.
Yeah. There's no survey stakes now.
No survey stakes. So, go ahead. I'm sorry, I just thought that when you read that.
Where on here that tree was.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no point where they're showing that tree.
Yeah.
Okay. The boundary ran west through Asnoth Tabor and came out at Hukok. It touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and the Jordan on the east. The fortified cities were Ziddim, Zer, Hamath, Rakath, Kinnereth, Adamah, Ramah, Hazor, Kedesh, Edrei, and Hazar, Iron, Migdal El, Horem, Beth Anath, and Beth Shemesh. There were 19 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, clan by clan. The seventh lot came out for the tribe of Dan, clan by clan. The territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir-Shemeth, Shaalabin, Ajalon, Ithla, Elon, Timnah, Ekron, Eltekah, Gibeathon, Baleth, Jehud, Bene Barak, Gath-Rimon, Majarkon, and Rakon, with the area facing Joppa. But the Danites had difficulty taking possession of their territory, so they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, put it to the sword, and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan after their forefather. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, clan by clan. When they had finished dividing the land into its allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua son of Nun an inheritance among them, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath-Serah, on the hill country of Ephraim, and he built up the town and settled there. These are the territories that Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel assigned by lot at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And so they finished dividing the land.
Okay, so again, they did this at the tent of meeting. It was a religious thing. And the inheritance for Eleazar, the priest, and Joshua, the son of Nun, and the ancestral leaders assigned by lot to the tribes of Israel at Shiloh, in the presence of God at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So if anybody wanted to challenge that, they'd say, God was there. He watched it. This is good. Now, this doesn't say anybody coming to this land from Egypt or anywhere else, they would know who owned what. I mean, this is kind of divided up within the group. So now, how do we deal with people who aren't part of us, part of the Jews? And that's what chapter 20 is going to deal with.
Then the Lord said to Joshua, "Tell the Israelites to designate the cities of refuge, as I instructed you through Moses, so that anyone who kills a person accidentally and unintentionally may flee there and find protection from the avenger of blood. When he flees to one of these cities, he is to stand in the entrance of the city gate and state his case before the elders of that city. Then they are to admit him into their city and give him a place to live with them. If the avenger of blood pursues him, they must not surrender the one accused, because he killed his neighbor unintentionally and without malice aforethought. He is to stay in that city until he has stood trial before the assembly and until the death of the high priest who is serving at that time. Then he may go back to his own home in the town from which he fled." So they set apart Kadesh in Galilee in the hill country of Naphtali, Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah. On the east side of the Jordan of Jericho they designated Bezer in the desert on the plateau in the tribe of Reuben, Ramoth in Gilead in the tribe of Gad, Golan in Bashan in the tribe of Manasseh. Any of the Israelites or any alien living among them who killed someone accidentally could flee to these designated cities and not be killed by the avenger of blood prior to standing trial before the assembly.
So that's the original sanctuary
City.
sanctuary cities and areas?
And it's interesting because what was one of the 10 commandments? Thou shalt not kill. So if you've killed someone, you run to the sanctuary city.
And you're praying for the death of the top priest, so then you can go back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
So, but
He's a
it's
21-year-old kid.
it says that, now, the message says this, a person shall escape for refuge to one of these cities, stand at the entrance, lay out his case. The leaders must then take him into the city among them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an either or.
Mm-hmm.
If they've come, you've got to take them. You can't send them back to their other city. Now, let's try to see how far we can get in 21. Because this is an important thing for clergy.
Now the family heads of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the other tribal families of Israel at Shiloh in Canaan, and said to them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that you give us towns to live in, with pasture lands for our livestock." So, as the Lord had commanded, the Israelites gave the Levites the following towns and pasture lands out of their own inheritance. The first lot came out for the Kohathites, clan by clan. The Levites, who were descendants of Aaron the priest, were allotted 13 towns from the tribe of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of Kohath's descendants were allotted 10 towns from the clans of the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and half of Manasseh. The descendants of Gershon were allotted 13 towns from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The descendants of Merari, clan by clan, received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites allotted to the Levites these towns and their pasture lands, as the Lord had commanded through Moses.
So the priests end up, they don't get a whole territory. They get some towns within those territories so that they can make a living. All right, let's continue with 9.
From the tribes of Judah and Simeon, they allotted the following towns by name. These towns were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the Kohathite clans of the Levites, because the first lot fell to them. They gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, with its surrounding pasture land in the hill country of Judah. Arba was the forefather of Anak. But the fields and villages around the city they had given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. So to the descendants of Aaron, the priests, they gave Hebron, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Libnah, Jatir, Estemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their pasture lands, 9 towns from these 2 tribes. And from the tribe of Benjamin they gave them Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. All the towns for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, were 13, together with their pasture lands. The rest of the Kohathite clans of the Levites were allotted towns from the tribe of Ephraim. In the hill country of Ephraim they were given Shechem, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. Also from the tribe of Dan, they received Eltekeh, Gibeathon, Ajalon, and Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From half the tribe of Manasseh, they received Taanach and Gath-Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. All these 10 towns and their pasture lands were given to the rest of the Kohathite clans. The Levite clans of the Gershonites were given from the half-tribe of Manasseh, Golan in Bashan, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, and Be-Eshtaroth, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. From the tribe of Issachar, Kishion, Debaroth, Jarmuth, and Engannon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Asher, Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehob, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kedesh in Galilee, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Hamath Dor, and Kartan, together with their pasture lands, 3 towns. All these towns of the Gershonite clans were 13, together with their pasture lands. The Merarite clans, the rest of the Levites, were given from the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneah, Karta, Dimnah, and Nahalal, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben, Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mithphaoth, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Gad, Ramoth in Gilead, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns in all. All the towns allotted to the Merarite clans, who were the rest of the Levites, were 12. The towns of the Levites in the territory held by the Israelites were 48 in all, together with their pasture lands. Each of these towns had pasture lands surrounding it. This was true for all these towns. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had sworn to give their forefathers, and they took possession of it and settled there. The Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their forefathers. Not one of their enemies withstood them. The Lord handed all their enemies over to them. Not one of all the Lord's good promises to the house of Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled.
Okay. We'll pick up with.
Should we applaud it? Should we applaud it?
Yeah.
Now, is that gonna be in the lectionary?
I don't think so.
We'll have a test on that next week.
We'll pick up with 22 next.
Applaud the fulfillment of his promises. That's the
We'll pick up
exciting
with chapter 22 next.
part. Okay.